Hi everyone, welcome back to the Coding and Analysis YouTube channel. In this video, it's going to start a playlist where I do a machine learning project to determine the 2025 fantasy football points, PPR points for the NFL players. So I'm just going to do a walkthrough of this data set that I've been working on. And we start off here with the IDs of the players. Josh Allen, he was the first one. He has an ID of 1. So player column, team column, fantasy position. So Josh Allen, quarterback, and then we have quarterback, wide receivers, and tight ends. I combine the wide receivers and tight ends since they have such similar characteristics. And we can see here 2023 age for the players, the number of games they played in 2023. The health grades, I'll put the criteria in the Jupyter notebooks, but 0 means the player is healthy, 1 is minor injuries, 2 moderate injuries, 3 was major injuries, and 4 was significant injuries. So you can see here Josh Allen was healthy, so had a health grade of 0. He played all 17 games. And then we get into the stats here. From what I remember, I think I used a mismatch of FantasyPros probably for the 2023 and 2024 stats, and CBS Fantasy Football Sports for the projected 2025 fantasy football stats for the players. So you can see here the pass yards for Josh Allen, 4,306, pass touchdowns, interceptions, rushing attempts, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, targets for receiving, receptions, receiving yards, and then FL is fumbles for a loss. So he had 4 fumbles, and then a total of 44 touchdowns. And then we get the PPR points for 2023. So he had 392.6. And then this is the this column shows the position rank by position. So he was number 1 in the quarterback position. Christian McCaffrey was number 1. In the running back position, CeeDee Lamb was number 1. In the wide receiver position. And then we go, Tyreek Hill was 2, Jalen Hurts was 2 for their positions. And then this is the overall fantasy football rank for that year. So CeeDee Lamb was first, so he had 403 points. And then we had Josh Allen second. Christian McCaffrey was third. And then this column is the just the number of PPR points, fantasy football points they had per game on average for that season. So Christian McCaffrey had 24.5 points. CeeDee Lamb had 23.7 points. Let's see, I want to go back and see how many games Christian McCaffrey played. He played 16 games, so he missed 1 game. But then, as you see in 2024, he missed a lot of games. He didn't play mostly at all. He played at the end a little bit. So we go to the columns for 2024. We have the age, number of games they played, the health grades. So you can see Josh Allen again. He had a health grade of 0 because he was healthy. Christian McCaffrey had a 4 because he had significant injuries. He only played 4 games that last year. And then we can see here again the attempts, completions, passing yards, passing touchdowns, interceptions, the rush attempts, rush yards, rush touchdowns, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and fumbles. You can see here, Jalen Hurts had 5 fumbles, Lamar Jackson had 5 fumbles, Josh Allen only had 2 fumbles. That was pretty good. CeeDee Lamb only had 1 fumble. And then you can see here the PPR points for 2024. And then these It's the average per game for the PPR fantasy football points. So Lamar Jackson, he averaged the most, 25. And then Jalen Hurts had 21. Joe Burrow had 22. And then we go here with the fantasy position rank. So Josh Allen was 2. Lamar Jackson was 1. So it's just really interesting to look at all the stats and try to calibrate to what you want to do for the upcoming 2025 fantasy football drafts. And overall for 2024, Lamar Jackson, he was number 1. He had 434 PPR points. And then Josh Allen, he was 3rd overall. And then we have Dak Prescott, he was hurt, so he was 138 overall. And then you can see here in this column differences in the 2024 predictions. So the Josh Allen, his predictions weren't far off. See what I did last year is I made a machine learning, and I put the predictions. I did the predictions, but then once they were completed, I just put their actual PPR points instead of the predicted ones. So you can kind of see here, Josh Allen, for his predicted points, he wasn't very far off. He was only off 6.94%. And the reason for that, he had a great season, so there wasn't much of anything off from the predictions that the machine learning did. And then Lamar Jackson, his predictions were 28% greater positive. So I guess the model had him going like 410 or something like that. So he outperformed the model predictions. And then you can see here the reason why these guys, they did not perform up to predictions, because they were injured, except for Tyreek Hill. I mean, he was injured too. He was done with injuries, but he just had a disappointing year compared to Dak Prescott, who was injured much of the year, and Christian McCaffrey, who was injured much of the year. So when the 2025 season is finished, I'll leave for these purposes, I'll leave the 2025 predictions that the model had, and I will put the actual 2025 PPR fantasy football points and see what the difference was like this, and then I'll put a reason as well. And then you can see here this column is just the PPR, the average for the players for the 2023-2024 seasons. And then this is the average fantasy football points for the past 2 seasons. And the average fantasy position rank the past 2 seasons. And then we can see here, so the health grade is based off a calculation for basically the average season of games for the past 3 seasons for the veterans, and for the past 2 seasons for the people that are drafted in 2023, and for the rookies drafted in 2024, it's just going to be based on the number of games they played for that season. And then the rookies that were drafted this year, it's going to be I'm just going to give them a health grade of 100 for the most part. So, but the machine learning, I just put the health grade. I didn't put the health grade for 2023 and 2024. Because this health grade is factoring in for the past 3 seasons for the veterans, and not just for the past 2 seasons. So that's why I'm going to use this column and for the machine learning project. And then the adjusted risk I did that in the prior playlist as well. This was a classification model that I used, and then I came up with the adjusted risk for the players and the risk tiers. So I added the adjusted risk in the machine learning project as well, and then projected role for the upcoming 2025 season. I put this in machine learning project as well. 1 is a starter, you're gonna be a starter, and then 0 is you're gonna be a backup, or you're not gonna have as much as a role. Uh, so you'd be like a backup, or maybe like the third position, fourth position wide receiver, or the second in the depth chart running back, or third in the depth chart running back. So for the situation here, Anthony Richardson, I'm just gonna put for right now. I'm assuming he's gonna be like a backup position, or a position where they use him more of as a mobile quarterback, and then I'm putting Daniel Jones as the starter for the Colts. And you can see here ones for most of these players. Um, Will Levis, since Cam Ward, he's most going to likely start, so I'm putting Will Levis as 0. And then Rashad White, I just put 1 because he and Bucky Irving, they kind of just share. It's probably more of like a 15-15, 50-50 split, so they might get maybe 15 carries each. So that's why I'm putting him as like a quasi starter. And then let's look at one more, Keenan Allen, since he hasn't even found a team yet. I'm just gonna put him as a backup for now. Maybe I might change that once the training camp starts and he finds a team. And you can see here the age 2025 for the players, and then the health grades. I'm going to for right now, which I'm not using this in the machine learning project, but this is just could update this when spring training starts. Maybe I'll add this for the machine learning project later on once the season gets closer. And then so it's for most of them they're going to be uh healthy or backup as a 0. Significant injuries. So Tank Dell, since I don't think he's going to play this 2025 season, I'm just going to put 6 as significant injuries and assume that he's not going to play. That's why I hard coded this, put 0s for Tank Dell. But these stats are for CBS. These were CBS Fantasy Football stats for their projections that they have. So the target variable for the machine learning project that we're doing is we want to predict the 2025 PPR for the NFL players. So we're not going to use these stats for the feature variables or feature columns. We're going to use the historical stats and also the health grade and the adjusted risk of the players, and all that good stuff. So we're using historical data and health data, and we're using the health grades as well. And then another thing I wanted to touch upon was for the rookies for the that were drafted in 2025. Let me go down. Let me find one. So I put, since they didn't play in 2024, they didn't play last year. So what I did for the purposes of the machine learning project was I just put down the average fantasy football points for that position. So if we keep on going down, we'll come across I'm sure we'll come across somebody. So these, so let's see. So I have them as 0. Okay, so I have them as 0, and what the models most likely will do is they'll put the average for the rookies, and then so actually what I did here. So this is kind of a trial and error. So for the wide receivers, I put as a 0 for the PPR points for the season, and then we'll see what the model spits out with for the wide receivers, with the wide receivers as 0 for the points. But then for the running backs, what I did was I did the average for the position. So all the running backs, I just did the average. So it'd be like 136.5 is the kind of what we're looking for these for the rookie wide receivers. Except for Ashton Janetti, since he's supposed to be a top 10 pick, since he's supposed to get a lot of volume in the running back position for the Las Vegas Raiders. So 201 would be kind of just the position that the points that I put down for his. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to look at the wide receivers and the running backs and kind of see how the model predicts for the 2025 season. If for the wide receivers I put a 0 for the points, and for the running backs I just put down the average. So that'll be interesting. I'll make sure to point out if there's much differences for those. But since the rookies are coming, it's just kind of hard to pinpoint what they'll actually do, except maybe for the top tier players. So that's why I'm kind of just taking these two approaches just to see what the model's going to do. And that will be that for this video. And in the next video, I'll go into the Jupyter Notebook and kind of just walk through the way getting the things like finding the top 10 results for the players, and then doing the looking at all the columns that were in the data set, which I went over here, and just getting ready to do the machine learning project, doing the random forest regressor model. So I'll do that in the next video. So thanks for watching, and always remember to never stop coding. See y'all later. Thanks.